Whoa, it's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm in the garage making stuff to sell to you. I'm in here making stuff to sell to you. So I thought I would talk about the concept of freedom. You know, it's interesting. I think I want to talk about the concept of freedom and rebellion at the same time. So free. I was thinking about this today. You know, one of the weird things is, remember that Janis Joplin song, "Freedom's when you got nothing left to lose." I think that's the song. Boom, dude. Freedom's when you got nothing left to lose, right? And that's not freedom. Freedom isn't because you got nothing left to lose. Freedom's when you have everything to gain. But most people think that freedom is sitting around, I don't know, waiting for something or doing nothing or just going and being decadent and just, and I'm going to go drink and party and fornicate and get all weird and do whatever. Just do whatever. Just apathy, no responsibility. Just, yeah, I'm free. But that's like this inverted thing, and it's actually like slavery, right? Because it's attachment to the temporary world, right? But what is freedom? Freedom's like freedom really is just taking responsibility for yourself and not depending upon the institutions to feed you, clothe you, house you, protect you, any of that stuff. To get you spiritually aligned with God, to get you sober, to any of it. You know, the institutions are out there to be used when appropriate, for sure. I'm not a anti-institution guy. But what I am is take responsibility for yourself kind of guy. And, you know, I've been working with a lot of people over the last couple months, and I can say that there's this misguided understanding of what rebelling is. And I misunderstood it for a long time, and I think it's a trap of youthfulness. You look at the boomer generation is worthy of studying because they got trapped by it. You know, they thought freedom was what was it? Tuning out and all that stuff and taking a bunch of acid and being hippies and this and that and ignoring the system, like thinking they were overthrowing the system by like pushing back against the system. And I think to a certain extent, I bought into that when I was younger, thinking that, you know, I was fighting the system by like not participating in the system and, you know, doing what I was doing, man. And that ultimately collapsed and turned into like alcoholism and confusion and regret. And then, you know, most of my 30s, which would be like super productive space, was spent really confused and really out to lunch and thinking that I was in rebellion against 8 billion people. And then, you know, I got sober and, you know, moved the ball forward 15 years and really understanding that freedom is taking responsibility for all of my actions, whether it be educating my child, the food I eat, the medicine I choose not to take, where my energy comes from, where my water comes from, making sure all the knobs and valves of this whole thing. And I get that why people don't want freedom is it's a lot of work. Like, see, somehow I think that people think is freedom is not working. And freedom's like actually like quadrupling down on the work. But what is the work? The work is maintaining your life so you're not dependent upon the system. So yeah, that's going and making sure that all the valves and the panels are working and all the stuff's up and running. And then you come in and like, yeah, like I sit and I try to make homemade products. I have a business on the property. I try to grow my own food and raise my own chickens but at the end of the day, like I got to go out and water them. I have to sit in the garage and glue this stuff together and finish it and sand it and get it to a production level where I can, and then I got to post it and take pictures. But like nowhere in there is there anybody else. Like, and I'm not like, yeah, like the family's here, like my wife and my son are fully participating in their own freedom. But I think there's just this giant misunderstanding that freedom's about getting away from it all, which means that if you're going to get away from it all, you have to maintain it yourself. And with that said is, you know, like we're dependent upon roads, right? Roads and factories and ball bearing plants, dude. I always just come down to it. It's all about ball bearings, dude. Ball bearings make our world go round just as much as petroleum products, dude. Petroleum products and ball bearings, dude. So sort of part of our freedom is maintaining the system, like in a weird way. If we like, because I don't think anyone's truly ready to go be a captive to the natural world. And you could argue that yeah, there's like like think about the freedom of the pioneers, right? They went out and they staked their land, but at any moment they could have died. And they were constantly working and fighting and battling animals and spiders and yeah, think about it back in the way back in the day, dude. You getting bit by a black widow, dude, you know, like, or a rattlesnake, or getting attacked by a bear, or a hostile tribe of locals, or just the local marauder / drunk. And that's what it is freedom's about taking responsibility for yourself, which means that you have to actually double down, quadruple down on your workload. You know, to maintain my freedom to do what I want up here means that like I literally, like the minute I walk out the door in the morning, that's like I'm just going from one thing I got to maintain to the other. But there's nobody coming down the driveway telling me what to do. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not in revolt against it either. Like I understand that the way to maintain your freedom is to be in sort of an equilibrium with the empire at the same time, right? And I think that's where there's a lot of like conflict. And that's part of the freedom, is understanding the conflict. Like, yeah, like I'm dependent upon an empire that's actively participating in a genocide of other people. Like I sit in my garden sometimes and I think about that. Like I'm just growing my own food, minding my own business. Meanwhile, the way I'm able, the reason is because I live in the empire, and the empire is busy bombing other people and starving them, like, which is this very abstract and really like practical contradiction existing at the same time. So is freedom to ignore that, or is freedom to understand that I have a responsibility to energetically accept the truth? And I think that most people think freedom is denial. Freedom is to not do anything. No, it's about doing everything for yourself. Freedom's not about laying down. Freedom's not about other people. Freedom's not about getting loaded and taking any. Freedom's not about sitting around on the couch or sending your kid off to some public institution you know is criminal. No, freedom's about like the struggles and the battles to homeschool your child so that they get on the other side and they already are generationally involved in their own freedom. Set your mind free and your body will follow. And I think that that's where I look at it as the ultimate. Like, I misunderstood that the rebellion is inside the machine, is inside the empire, not from any other thing, but excelling in your own self. Like, the system's captivity is getting you to think freedom is generating money so you can sit on some beach 2 times a year down in wherever you go nowadays to do that. Like no. Like, these are tropes and miscommunications. Freedom ultimately is about, like, being a square. I thought freedom was about being a freak when I was young. No, freedom's about really, like, being a square and having and crossing your T's and dotting your I's and making sure all the paperwork's filled out and filling out the blanks on the forms and maintaining it. It's not about running from it or checking out or not participating in it. Like, I spent a lot of time, like I said, till I got sober. I had never had a credit card, never had debt, never took out a loan on anything. And it didn't get me anywhere. And it wasn't until, like, I started actually using the empire to rebel within the empire that I began to understand that freedom is really about maintaining yourself within the bubble of the chaos and truly, like, breathing deep and taking care of your spiritual self. And that's really ultimately, because if you understand any sort of spiritual program, spiritual principle, or what Jesus was trying to tell us, or what any of the prophets were trying to tell anyone, was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And basically what you would want other people to do is take care of themselves so you can take care of yourself, so you guys can meet and enjoy each other's company. And build on the fact that each of you is maintained and your family's maintained. So you bring 2 maintained families together, and then you build the next level of it all. Like, really, it's about building and creating and participating. It is not about checking out. It is not about cutting off your nose to spite your face. Which freedom's an inside job, dude. Like, as I always say, is I spent most of my time misunderstanding freedom and building my own cage. And now now I understand. Yeah, like, we live on a prison planet. No doubt about it, dude. But you can achieve freedom on the prison planet. That's the planet. That's why don't buy into the hustle of destruction and doomsday and all that stuff. But I gotta go right now because I got limited time I'm taking Al to meet his friend at the skate park. Al's got a skateboarding friend, a fellow long hair up here in the Kern River Valley, which is kind of cool, man. But with that said, more will follow, and let's get free, dude, and double down on maintaining our freedom. All right, it's The Illusion signing off. Links down below. Support what I'm doing here if you want, dude. I got products up on the thing, and most importantly, use the name tags. This is The Illusion signing off.